My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask you for pardon of my sins and grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Mother Immaculate, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. Well, these days the liturgical calendar is a bit complicated because in some countries yesterday was the feast of the Ascension, and in other countries that feast is moved to next Sunday. Nevertheless, luckily, the same gospel is said in the masses in the different countries, no matter whether you celebrated the Ascension yesterday or whether you will celebrate it on Sunday. And the gospel really does have Jesus referring to his departure. And so it's relevant to the Ascension, whether that was yesterday or next Sunday. I'm going to read the gospel, some part of the gospel anyway. Jesus said to his disciples, I tell you most solemnly, you will be weeping and wailing, while the world will rejoice. You will be sorrowful, but your sorrow will turn to joy. A woman in childbirth suffers because her time has come. But when she has given birth to the child, she forgets the suffering in her joy that a man has been born into the world. So it is with you. You are sad now, but I shall see you again, and your hearts will be full of joy, and that joy no one shall take from you. It's a beautiful passage, and you can see that Jesus is speaking about his departure and the obvious sadness that your departure, Lord, will cause in the hearts of the apostles who love you so much. Over three years they had got to know you and gradually became to love you like they loved nobody else and could love nobody else. And so they do have this great sorrow when Jesus speaks of departing and leaving them. It's hard to imagine, but put yourself in the shoes or the sandals of any of the apostles there. Jesus, this man whom they came to love and adore, who they knew was the Son of God, and who is now speaking of departure and leaving them. However, Jesus puts in that very encouraging line, but I shall see you again, and your hearts will be full of joy, and that joy no one shall take from you. What a promise. Our Lord is speaking of a joy that is eternal. No one shall take this from you. Yesterday, in the 10 Minutes with Jesus, you heard about the happiness of heaven, and it is a lovely topic. And maybe we don't think about heaven enough, but certainly the Feast of the Ascension gives us a great opportunity. You think of the way that the church speaks about where the head is gone, the body is going to go. The head of the church being Christ, we being the body, and if the head has gone into heaven, well, the body has to follow suit eventually. So let's think a little bit more about heaven. Maybe in general it would be good to think more about heaven, but in this 10 minutes with Jesus, let's think and pray about heaven. Jesus himself speaks about heaven maybe between something like 60 and 80 times in the Gospels. One way or another, he speaks about the kingdom of heaven or heaven itself. And one of the reasons why it's so important for us to hear about heaven, to think about heaven, is because we need the incentive. Sometimes life is tough. Sometimes being a follower of yours, Lord, is tough. Sometimes the world says to us, it's not worth the effort. Just stop making that effort and enjoy this life as if there is no life afterwards. And so it is very good for us to remember, no, that's not true. There is a life afterwards, and it goes on forever. And that is a lovely motivation, and it can motivate great heroism in people. There's a lovely story of the young Saint Teresa of Avila going with her little brother Rodrigo. And they were children at this stage, but they both were pious children, and they'd read the lives of the saints. And they were fired up by the reading of the lives of the saints, in particular the lives of the martyrs, gave their lives for God and then went to heaven. And so, especially Teresa, she took it into her little head that it would be great for them to go off and get martyred. They were living in Avila, when the further south of Spain was controlled by the Muslims. And they heard all these stories of Christians being martyred in the Muslim-controlled territory further to the south. And so she convinced her little brother to head off with her south to the country of the Moors, as they call them. And there they would promptly be beheaded and they would go to heaven. And so it was a very simple plan. And so she, with her little brother, headed off, with her little packed lunch under their arms, and they went off southwards. And he initially was quite enthusiastic, but as the day wore on, he began to tire, and getting down to the south of Spain was a little bit further than he probably had banked on. And she encouraged him, saying the words, forever, 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 encouraging him to think of this. They were tired, they were hungry, hot, but she was saying, it's worth it. The prize is forever. That in the mind of a little girl. Well, unfortunately, maybe their plan was upset by their uncle. They bumped into their uncle on the road, and he brought them back home. So that was the end of their plan for martyrdom. But still, forever, forever, forever. And it clearly stayed with her, this awareness of eternity as against the troubles and sufferings of this life. And something she's written about famously. She's those very well-known words saying, let nothing perturb you, let nothing frighten you. All things pass. God does not change. Patience achieves everything. So let nothing perturb you. All things pass, all those troubles, no matter what we have to go through, and sometimes they perhaps are particularly hard things that we have to undergo. But we have to have a Christian view of things, even a mature view of things. As a child, maybe like little Rodrigo there, getting tired, and we're sometimes like that because we don't have the long vision of even the child Teresa, who views things in the light of eternity. Forever, forever, forever. So let us look at things in the light of eternity. The theologians use a little tag to sum that up, saying sub specie eternitatis, in the light of eternity. Let's examine things that are passing. When we think of when we were children, a week seemed to be an eternity, and a year was kind of unthinkable. And you think of when you were maybe a child in primary school, waiting for the summer holidays was just an eternity. But now, all those weeks certainly have passed, and those summer holidays came and even went, perhaps many of them by now. And so too our life. We will look back at this life from within eternity, and all that has happened, and all the good things and all the bad things, the sufferings, they will appear to have been so short, just a blink of an eye. Not that this makes us indifferent to the things that happen in this life, or are kind of totally passive. No, we do suffer, and they cause us to suffer. But our suffering should always be faced with, our difficulties have to be faced with those words of Jesus from today's gospel, firmly nestled in our hearts, where Jesus says, so it is with you. You are sad now, but I shall see you again, and your hearts will be full of joy. I give you thanks, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations you have communicated to me in this meditation. I ask you for help to put them into effect. My Mother Immaculate, Saint Joseph, my Father, Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.